Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the first edition of Shad's Rants. Basically, this is going to be maybe a weekly, maybe more often, I haven't decided yet, segment on things that I feel I need to get off my chest, or something that I feel that you, the world, or whoever as a whole needs to hear this. And so for today's episode, I'm going to talk about stagnation. And I'm going to start it off with a quote. Once my mouse works with me, from Leonard Sweet. And what he says is, what's the difference between a living thing and a dead thing? In the medical world, a clinical definition of death is a body that does not change. Change is life. Stagnation is death. If you don't want to change, you die. It is that simple. It's that scary. And those words are so true. And I started thinking about it in the sense of our bodies. What happens? You're born. You live your youth just running around doing all kinds of different crazy things, learning the world around you. And then what happens? You finish school. You go out into the workforce, and you're told that the best thing you can do is get in with a good company and work there for 20, 30, 40 years and retire. And then when you retire, you, I don't know, you retire. You don't do anything. You stay home, you relax. But what happens when you start relaxing? You become lazy. When you start becoming lazy, one thing about the human body is it's only as strong as it needs to be. So think about, you see these guys that are like MMA fighters, Muay Thai, whatever, and I mean, they can kick a steel pipe and bend it, right? But if you or I tried that, what would happen? We would shatter our fucking leg. That's what would happen. Why? Because our bodies are not designed for that level of impact. Theirs is, but theirs is for one important reason. They worked at it. When I was 14, 15, I got a compound bow for Christmas one year. And when I first started using that bow, the bones in my arm from, holding it outright like this, the bones in my arm were super sore in the beginning. And I didn't understand why. And basically what it was is those bones were not used to the stress that I was putting on it, pulling back that bow and holding it. And at that time, it was only a 50-pound bow. But again, my arm was not used to that motion. It was not used to holding that stress. And so it hurt. Some people would say, oh, well, if it hurts, don't do it. Well, if I had stopped doing it, then I never would have gotten stronger. And our bodies are the same thing. And when we get older, we stop doing as much as we used to do because in our minds, someone tells us somewhere, oh, you're 80 years old. You don't need to be running and jumping and frolicking and doing whatever it is that you used to do as a child because you're going to get hurt. Well, the only reason you get hurt is because you stop doing those things, and then your body weakens itself because, again, it's only as strong as it needs to be. And that's where stagnation comes in. That the mind is the same thing. So, for almost 10 years, I worked for a instrument company. And in the beginning, I totally loved the job. I got to visit all kinds of places all around the world, doing installations, training, repair, and I loved it. But after 10 years, I got tired of it. That's the basic, simple truth of it. I got tired of doing the same thing for 10 years. And I felt like I wasn't going anywhere. And that's where the stagnation comes in. And I'm also going to tell you another quote real quick by God, I can't talk, fuck. By Arthur Conan Doyle. And he says, my mind rebels at stagnation. Give me problems. Give me work. Give me the most obtrusive cryptogram or the most intricate analysis, and I am in my own proper atmosphere. I can dispense with the artificial stimulants, but I abhor the dull routine of existence. I crave for mental exaltation. That is why I have chosen my own particular profession, or rather created it, for I am the only one in the world. Now that one for me really strikes a chord, because that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this stuff right now. I'm wanting to do something different. I want to talk to you guys, talk to the world. And I'll be honest, when I first started doing this, every time I'd get ready to hit that little record button, I was scared as shit. Nervous as hell. And you could sort of hear it in my voice even. It was very like, yeah, blah, 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 as I'm talking to y'all. But as I've been doing this longer and I get more and more comfortable, I'm just more comfortable. But as I become more comfortable, I get to where I can tell you more things. I can say more stuff, and I can be more me. And that's also where the next part of all this comes in at, and that's my show. If you've been listening to the Reclaimed American podcast since the beginning, this show is nothing like it used to be. In the beginning, my grand scheme was I was going to do like a dad knowledge podcast. The kind of thing where if you needed to know how to do something and you call your dad, he would be able to talk to you over the phone and tell you how to change your oil, how to change a tire, how to fix a hole in the sheetrock, whatever. And that was the concept, the idea in my head for this show. But as I did it, I got through about 4 or 5, maybe 6 weeks of it, and I realized it wasn't what I wanted. So I started doing just a monologue show where I was actually kind of talking like I am with you guys now. But I wasn't entirely comfortable with that, or at least not at that time. So I went on and I became an interview show, and I started interviewing people. And don't get me wrong, I am still totally in love with that. And I'm still looking for more guests all the time. So if you ever want to be on a podcast and you think you have something to share with the world, reach out, contact me. You can send me an email at reclaimedamerican@gmail.com, and we can go from there. Or you can reach out on Facebook or Instagram. Hell, now you can even reach out to me on TikTok. I'm trying to get back into LinkedIn. I haven't posted there in a very long time, but it is something that is in the works, right? So if you think you'd like to be a guest, shoot me a message. We'll talk a little bit, and we'll go from there. We'll see what happens. But anyway, so back. The idea with this show is that I'm trying to interview people that are doing interesting things that will hopefully help make the world a better place, or at least the veteran and first responder communities. But one of the things you're going to notice coming up in the future is this show is not going to be the same show a year from now as it is today. Just like 6 months ago, the show is radically different than what it was then, because stagnation kills. We're not meant to be the same people every single day for the rest of our lives. You've got to change. You've got to evolve. And you've got to move on. If something doesn't work for you, change it. Otherwise, sit in your own shit and bitch about it. I really think that's where you get these people that are angry at the world. It's because they don't know how to change. And you've got to learn. You've got to evolve. You've got to adapt. I hate to say it, but you almost have to be a fucking Marine. Adapt and overcome. But, and by the way, to the Marines out there, happy birthday, guys. And gals. But anyways, so that's it. I'm wrapping it up at that. And don't forget, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the little fucking subscribe button. That's the only way you're going to know when more of this stuff comes out. 2 is if you wish to support the show, look me up on Patreon. I recently had an idea change. One, I got rid of my sponsorship levels on Patreon. Why? Because in order for me to want to accept someone as a sponsor, I have to totally be down with that person, with that group, that company, whatever. And by just random people, saying, "Hey, I'll pay you to be on your show as a sponsor," what if I don't like you? Then that's just not going to happen. So at the moment, there's no sponsorship of, opportunities available through Patreon. Two, I've got like 3 or 4 tiers of levels of God, I don't even know what the fuck to call it. But anyways, the way Patreon works is if you want to support people, you go to Patreon, you subscribe to a certain tier level, which typically is more money, more money, more money as you go up. Well, I decided, you know what? Screw that. If you want to support me, you decide the level of interaction that you want from me. And all of my tiers are the same price, $2 a month. So if you want to support the show, go to patreon.com/Reclaimed American and select what tier of engagement you would like. So if you just want to, hey, I'm giving you $2 a month, have at it. Or if you want to be at the highest level, which I believe is tier 3, and say, hey, I want Shad's rants. I want the newsletter when it comes out. I want, random shout outs on the shows or whatever. Then you select that one. But it's up to you. You decide. But anyhow, I'm going to leave it at that. Right now, like I said, I'm trying to grow the Patreon, trying to grow the YouTube. And as always, if you want to like and share us on Facebook, by all means, please do. If you want to help out on iTunes, then by all means, subscribe, leave a rating and review, because that helps to grow the show. As the reviews get bigger, higher, more subscribers, then iTunes tends to interact better with you. And shares, I don't know, however all that shit works. I'll be honest, I don't know. But at this point, I'm rambling. I'm going to shut the hell up, and I'm going to get out of here. So, talk to y'all later.